Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on Earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife, and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome to my very first show. My name is Pam Bright, and I'm going to be your host for the next hour. The first thing I want to share with you is that I have been very inspired by the butterfly and the butterfly journey. So this show is actually going to be my spiritual journey from caterpillar to butterfly. And in that journey, I'm going to share with you several of my near-death experiences throughout my life that really have created the person that I am today. First, I want to start with an activation of sorts so that I can get centered myself. You can disconnect from the outside world for the next hour and then really get centered in your heart with me, because this is for you as much as it is for me as your guide today. So go ahead and just listen to my voice. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Please stay driving and keep your eyes open and just listen to the sound of my voice. Creator of all that is, the one who lives and breathes within all things, I ask you now to fully and completely come into this space, this vortex of energy, and create this sacred vessel for us to be a community in together. I ask my spirit guides, teachers, and angels now to come into this space with me so that I can deliver the exact information that these beautiful people are here to witness and absorb for themselves. I ask you, those that are listening, to also invite in any guardians, any helpers, any invisible friends that you feel connected to now come into this space with you and to know that they are always with you in every moment. So invite them in to this space with you and I, and know that you will get exactly what you need from this transmission, as well as this delivery of my story to you. So let's start with the caterpillar. The caterpillar starts out very innocent and it has its own life. And as a young child, I was curious. I had my eyes open and I was wanting to absorb as much as possible as a young child. But I was very disconnected. And I don't know about you, but I didn't quite know how to handle life. So if this is you listening and you're thinking the same thing, like, how am I going to handle my life as this young person? Really depends on who you connect with in your life. So I was trying to connect with my toys, trying to connect with my stuffed animals, trying to connect with the kids at school, and I felt very alone. And I said to myself, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Aren't I supposed to know how to handle life? This was as a very young child in elementary school that I was asking these questions. And another thing that I had happen is that I was also disconnected from God, from any sort of higher power. I knew that I was supposed to be connected, but I didn't feel connected. I'd go to church with my family. I'd listen to the hymns. I would pray, but I didn't feel any sense of belonging to this church, nor to this God that I was supposed to know. And one night when I was going to sleep, I looked up in what was my ceiling of my bedroom, and what I saw was my great grandmother who had just passed. I looked at her and thought, well, wait a minute, isn't she dead? Why is she in my ceiling? And she very lovingly looked at me and said, hi, hello, honey. How are you? And I said, well, Grandma, what are you doing in my ceiling? And she said, well, sweetheart, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. And I also want you to know that I love you. Well, I was comforted by that communication from her. And so very excitedly, I told my mother what had happened. Well, my mother, being the wonderful Christian that she was, did not have a frame of reference for this communication with my great grandmother. And so my mother told me, honey, these things don't happen. That must have been something that you imagined. I made a very important decision at that point in my young life that I could not go to my mother with my personal thoughts, my personal life, because it wouldn't be understood. So unfortunately, that created a life with my mom of misunderstanding from both of us and really having a hard time in communication. This led me into a life of anger, not only at my mother, but really of the entire world, but especially at myself, because I didn't understand any of it. And I was very, very bewildered. So that was a perfect setup for me for a life of addiction. When I first had my taste of alcohol at the age of 12, I was surrounded by adults in a restaurant, and we were all being fed glasses of wine, very large glasses of wine. And I don't know how much I drank, but I drank, seems like, all night long. Came home, went to sleep. The next day, was actually woken up mid-afternoon by a family member. And I ended up having a mini seizure, according to the doctors. Again, I didn't know what was happening, but didn't have any recall for what happened until I was told. This set me up for a life of addiction at that point. Along with that, I was also connecting to the doctors with my young person's life, and they found out that I had blood pressure that was super high for a young person. They were scared. My mom was scared. My dad was scared. I was a little bit scared, but I didn't know why. Started me out with lots of medications, took me off of salt, took me out of all physical activity, and it set me up for really wanting to know more about how to just go invisible because I was not ready for living life the way it was. So a lot of years later, I was then exposed to Alcoholics Anonymous because my life was out of control. I was a rageaholic. I was an alcoholic. I was an addict. I was addicted to everything that was unhealthy for me. And I definitely was not taking care of my physical body. So the wonderful thing that happened in Alcoholics Anonymous was that I got connected to a God outside of the church. They called it a God of my own understanding. And I was very foreign to me. But I was curious. I thought, wow, a God of my understanding. You mean I can have a personal relationship with a God? This is unheard of. Oh my goodness, this could be something that I might be able to relate to. So I started exploring the world of healing, the world of spirituality, crystals and sweat lodges and drumming circles and circles of women to connect to and all kinds of things to just explore this whole world of spirit that was emerging in my young body. And with that, I was on again, off again of drugs and alcohol and Alcoholics Anonymous. The final straw with that was that I was at Rosario Resort for a spiritual experience. And I did have one. And it happened after a big night of drinking and drugging and a big hangover the next day. And I had my friend who I was working with and I trying to do this housekeeping that we were supposed to do for the Rosario Resort. And she looked at me and said, Pam, did you know that we don't have to be doing this to ourselves? She had the sound of an angel for me. I was relieved. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to do this anymore. What do you mean? How am I going to not do this? I was at the turning point. Have you ever been at the turning point in your own life with anything? Could be alcohol, could be drugs, could be sexing, could be gambling, could be just unhealthy behavior that you're ready to end and don't know how. What I found is that really what it took was willingness. So I prayed to this God that I didn't understand. And I said, God, I have no idea how to do this. If I'm supposed to do this and get sober again for good, I need your help. So we're about to take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about my chrysalis stage, which was the going within and getting very clear about who I am and who I get to be. So we'll be back in a little bit. Stay tuned for the next section. Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. So now we're in the chrysalis stage of my butterfly journey. And I wanted to share with you that the biggest key with this section of my story is that although I had done a lot of healing already since getting sober, I had still not taken responsibility for my physical health. Pretty much off the bat, from the time that I was given the medication at age 12, I was angry about the condition. So I was on again, off again, on again, off again with my meds, which I never, ever, ever recommend to anybody. But being an addict, I would just forget that I was on medication. I would forget to renew them. I just didn't care about anything but my next fix. So when I got sober, I did a lot of healing and connecting and really trying to connect to this God that they said I could create a connection with that didn't have to be in a church. And I wanted that personal connection. I wanted that relationship. And so I tried. I went to massage school, and I started, exploring different things. Even though I had done all this healing and I was really trying my best, because I hadn't taken regular medication for this condition called hypertension, it caught up with me. And one night when I'd been exposed to doing some coaching, I'd been exposed to doing some massage. I had people over to do a healing group and a coaching group with me, and I felt pretty bad. My eyes were blurred. My heart was palpating really fast. I was kind of shaky, and I hurt all over. And I had them do some healing touch with me in hopes that I could get back to normal, because after all, I was the facilitator of the group and I was supposed to know what I was doing, right? So I had them work on me. It wasn't really helping. I still felt terrible. I had them leave, go home, and I went to sleep. Woke up in the middle of the night in 2001, and I felt like I'd gotten kicked in the back by a horse. It was so painful. And then I also threw up. So I was sick to my stomach. My heart was palpitating out of control. I was shaky. I couldn't see well. I hurt all over. I knew, and I started bleeding, of course, because my kidneys were not doing well. And I knew that I needed help. So I called my friend. And she said, "Oh, honey, you need to go to the emergency room now." So she came to get me. We went to the emergency room. The EMT came to get me. He wheeled me back to the emergency room. He looked right in my eyes. And he said, "You are going to have a stroke." Now, I had no idea what that meant, but I knew it wasn't good. And I then was scared. And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, what do we do about that?" And he took me in. They tried to get my blood pressure to, be on the monitor. They couldn't get the blood pressure to even show up. It was so high. And they did that probably for an hour or more. They put me on medication in the hospital. They had an IV that was trying to bring my stress down so that they could even get a reading for me. And they hospitalized me that night. That night or the next night, I don't remember exactly because it's a blur. I ended up having a stroke in the hospital. I know many people have had strokes. I was blessed that I was actually in the hospital at that moment. I don't know what would have happened if I had had it outside of the hospital, but God was taking care of me very well. So the next 10 days is a blur for me. But I found out through recall and through my beautiful family and friends that I was in a coma for 10 days. At that time, I didn't have any consciousness. So I was basically in the hospital, having things happen, people in and out. I came to, and I looked around and I saw Easter signs and balloons and plants and flowers and stuffed animals. And the first thing I said was, "I missed Easter." And the next thing that I saw was my then boyfriend and my mom. Now, remember, I had been angry at my mom my whole life. So immediately I was angry, and then I felt guilty and ashamed because something inside of me knew that I had set this up. I had set this up due to my own actions. I had set the ball rolling with not being responsible for my health. So I found out through a beautiful piece of music that I listened to that I had had a powwow with the angels during the time that I was in my coma. And during that time, we had had a conversation about whether or not I was going to stay with them or whether I was going to come back to Earth. Well, guess what? Here I am. I chose to come back with the caveat that I would fulfill on my mission here in this lifetime. Well, I did recover, but I'm going to tell you that after another break, because here we are again at surrender as I was in the coma. And I realized that I was given a choice in that moment when I was having my powwow with the angels. Angels are very powerful, and angels to this day are my guardians and my guides, as well as many other guides that are here with me right now. I will share with you right now, and I will go more into that later in the show. But I want to let you know that tomorrow marks the 20th anniversary of my near-death experience. So I'm a little emotional, and it's good. And I want you to know that you can embrace who you are in every moment. And if you have a tear to shed or a little anger to express, love yourself in it, because it's your saving grace. So we're going to go to another break here. And when I come back, I'm going to talk to you about how I recovered from my near-death experience. Welcome back. We are now in the butterfly stage, my rebirth from coma to new life. So yes, I did recover. Here I am, 20 years later. I'm in recovery. My recovery actually was really fast. According to all of my friends and family, I recovered very fast. What I found out is that the stroke itself had actually affected the midline of the base of my cranium, which is where balance is affected the most. And so I would say, if anything, that's what I deal with on a continual basis now, 20 years later, from the stroke, is my balance. But it's very mild compared to what could have happened. Many other people have many stories to tell you about that time. But this is my story that I want to share with you about what's happened since, because that is what is most important to me, is what my recovery's really been. It's been miraculous. I took on fully my purpose on this planet. I didn't know exactly what that would look like. I did know that it would have to do with the language of light, which I get to share with you in this program. And I'm so thrilled to be able to do that, because it is my soul connecting to your soul and connecting to the God of all. The other thing that happened is that I did go back to work as a massage therapist. And that career lasted for 25 years, very long time. So in the middle of my world as a massage therapist, I had my stroke, which is really interesting to me that would happen. And the other thing that I want to share with you is that prior to my stroke and my coma, I had not taken responsibility for my health. This was the big surrender. When I got up and moving and starting to communicate with the world again, I realized that if I was going to stay in a body, a human vessel, I had to take responsibility for my health. Like there was no other messing around with it. I was not ready, nor did I feel equipped at all to be able to do anything other than take medication for this condition. That is a safe, proven way to be healthy with the condition of hypertension. And so I took it on and I said, I will do whatever it takes to stay in this body. So I listened to the doctors. I did what they said. I've taken my medication every day. I am alive. And I am no longer willing to risk my health by taking myself off of this life-changing, life-saving medication. And I say this to all of you who are on the fringes of thinking you can handle it by yourself, whatever the condition is that you're facing. Don't do it alone. You never have to. That is my biggest message for anyone who has ever questioned their health, their well-being, what they're supposed to do. Don't question it. Just listen. Listen to support. Listen to your God. Listen to nature. Listen to everything around you because it's always here for you. So as I went back to work as a massage therapist and I started doing my healing work again, and I started doing more coaching in my life, I realized that something was missing as far as massage therapy. And I got messages from my guidance that there was more to this story. There would be more to do other than doing massage. Again, I didn't know, I didn't have the foresight for what that looked like, but I was listening and I was open and I was praying and I was asking for, what do we do from here? I got married to the love of my life, who at the time was my boyfriend, who went through this whole experience with me. I had a child at 42, which is another huge, huge miracle. That's a whole other story that we'll go into another time. And you can ask me any questions that you want to about that experience. Last year, in 2020, I actually retired myself from massage therapy because it was time. It was another surrender. I've had a lot of surrenders in my life. It was a turning point. At the time that the coronavirus hit and everything shut down, we didn't know if the spas would open again and when that would be. So I took it on myself to do some real soul searching and asking my guides, teachers, and angels. I also did a lot of work with my mentor and teacher, who was working with me with my light language and with my spiritual gifts. I went into deep meditation and I asked my soul, what am I here to do? What's next? Am I supposed to continue doing massage, or is it time to give it up? My body was starting to give out from the amount of massage that I'd been doing and the hardness with which I was living life and the struggle with which I was living life, because I had lived my life angry and fighting the system for so long that I knew that I had to have a change. So again, I was at the turning point. I was at the surrender point for how do I function? What am I supposed to do? Before 2020, I had been introduced to going to psychic fairs and spiritual circles and learning how to access my spiritual gifts that was not connected to massage therapy. So I had a little taste of that. When 2020 hit, we could no longer go to in-person psychic fairs. So I was faced with having to do everything virtually. And with 2020, I chose to end my massage career and to begin my own business. My business is now called Bright Butterfly Enterprises, and I am fully self-employed. I will not, as far as I know, unless God knows differently, be working for anyone else. And I will be doing this radio show for you because I love you and I am here for you. And this is our now. This is our spiritual awakening. This is our time to fully embrace who we are. When I fully embrace who I am, I get to give up my limitations. I get to give up what I call the imposter syndrome, which I lived with my whole life, thinking that I was just pretending to be human. I was pretending to know what I was doing. I was pretending to have the answers. I was pretending to be a coach. I was pretending to be a healer. All of that stuff that I dealt with up until my coma went away, which I'm so grateful for. And I still look and I go, did it really leave? Wow, okay. And then I kind of listen. I go inside and I listen and I ask, am I really ready fully and completely to embrace who I am and fully emerge as the butterfly? And you know what I hear? I hear yes. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm yours. So I let go of my anger towards my mom. For anyone who deals with any family member or any person in their life that they have anger towards or any unfinished business with, my invitation to you is to deal with it. Don't let it hide. Don't think it's going to go away. It's not. Until you are willing to go within and to ask for forgiveness if you need to, ask for help from your spirit teams, your angels, your guides, people that love you because you're you. So this is my journey of becoming a whole being, a fully emerging butterfly that's here for you and here to really assist you in your own journey. What is it that you're ready to take on? We're going to take a break here in a little bit, and I'm going to talk to you about really what I get to celebrate now. So we're going to take a break, and I'll see you when the break ends. Welcome back. We're in the last section of this show. So I am so honored you're here. This is a big celebration for me. I made it. I made it through a stroke and a coma, my near-death experience. My question for you is, what are you going through right now? Are you willing to have the courage to go through the next phase of your own life? Are you willing to face yourself? Facing yourself is the biggest challenge and the biggest adventure that you'll ever have. Being in this body that you have right now, in this lifetime. This is the chance that you get. It's a huge chance, one that I will never take for granted again. My health, I'm on a health journey now of emergence. So I'm taking on my health as like a next chapter of my life. I'm now exercising. I am stretching. I am meditating. I am listening to guidance in a new way. I am breathing. I am asking my angels every single day for help. I'm looking at my diet. I'm changing the way I'm eating. Lots and lots of changes in my physical body. And that has been the thing that has been missing for all of my prior life up to the coma, was me really taking on this physical body as its own journey. It's vital. It's vital that you honor, that I honor my own body's expression in the world as much as I honor my connection and my way of being with my spiritual life. It's vital that I combine the two together and that they work together as a team. I bring my guidance into me, and I do it vocally like this in activations, so that you can then witness how you can do the same thing for yourself. This is what I've been practicing for the last 20 years. There's a book that I read that really started me on this path of connecting to what's called a spirit team. You might want to write this down, or ask me again in the comments or in email. What's the book? The book is The MAP Team. It's the Medical Assistance Program by Michelle Small Wright. And she talks about connecting with nature and the spirit of all of nature. So that includes the weather, that includes fairies and elves and little people and the grasses and the flowers and all that exists in nature, and working together for our best health. And I took that on for myself. And I incorporated also my connection to all of my spirit teams, all of my angels that were accessible to me, all of the galactics that wanted to work through me, all of my light beings that wanted to be with me, all of the energies from the stars and the crystals. I'm holding a crystal here for you to see that is one of my helpers. You see, I have the angel there and the butterfly. So as we look at coming back into the experience of caterpillar and chrysalis and butterfly, each one of these is its own being, its own life. And you might be able to see yourself in this same journey. You've had your own experiences, you've had your own trials, you've had your own challenges. And my invitation to you is that you take on your own trials and challenges as your own adventure, and know that support is always available to you in every single moment. As you take on this adventure, people will emerge in your life to help you. Books will start showing themselves to you. You might be one that receives information in your dreams. People may say things, or you'll hear messages in music or movies that may inspire you. Don't be afraid to open up to all of the support that is available to you in every second, because it's all here. And please know that I am here for you. I am at your disposal for help with anything that you come across. I'm a spiritual coach. I'm an energy intuitive. I am a light language channel. I am here to assist in every way that I can. Bright Butterfly Enterprises is my website. And if you want to book a call with me, you can book a call through, it's called the Discovery Call, and we can talk about all the different ways that I can assist you, and we can explore what's next for you in this lifetime. If you're having some challenges with your health, I can give you some ideas. We can talk about how to hook you up with the right support that you need, or I can help you find that. If you want to find out about your spirit team or find out about your life purpose, I would be honored to help you with that. Let's talk. Let's get something going for you. Know that if it's not me that's going to be available to you, there are many, many people that are ready. They're waiting for you to find and help you to get what you need. So next week, I get to introduce my spirit partner for life. His name is David Buck, and he is going to share with you his spiritual journey and also share with you a little bit of his own experience of what it's been like to be with me in my emergence as from a caterpillar to chrysalis and then to butterfly. For you, as a spiritual being having a human experience, what does that mean to you? What does that mean? When you look at your human self, have you connected to that part of you as a separate being? And then have you looked at yourself as a spiritual being? Did you know that you can actually connect them together? Your spiritual self and your human self, like you connect to your God or the creator of all that is, and you bring that into your human self, you become co-creators. It's an amazing way to live. I really invite you to explore. What are you curious about? Maybe it's crystals. Maybe it's plants. Maybe is it animal communication? All of those are available to you to explore. This is the time in 2021 to assist you in getting your needs met. Please know that in every one of these episodes, you can actually call in, you can write in, you can contact me on email to find out more about what I have to offer, about the way you can get support, and know that your life is up to you. This is your journey. So it looks to me like we've just got a couple minutes left. And again, this is my journey with my near-death experience. I've had many of them in my life, and I invite you to look at your own life and what you're up to. Each moment we have a choice. I now know what my Nana said when I was very young, when she said that I was going to be okay. Nana, thank you. Thank you for that message. Thank you for always watching over me. Rosie, you're my grandma. Thank you for connecting to Nana, your mom, and watching over us as a family. And Mom, thank you for who you are and for always, always, always watching over me in my life. Remember that my website is brightbutterflyenterprises.com. You can contact me there. You can see what's available to you for services. You can also email me at theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming to this very first episode of the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. Until next time, I love you and be well.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in every Monday at 3 p.m. to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.